Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Welcome back to Listen Up, coming at you straight after the quarterfinal matchup between the UConn Huskies and St. John's Red Storm at Mohegan Sun today. Let's get straight into the game recap. It was a pretty fun one. Aubrey Griffin was out for today's game. A little bit surprising news before the game. The team said it was just precautionary because of knee soreness. So I guess that is a little bit of positive news. So we were back to the same usual starting lineup for UConn today with Jana Al-Alfi at the position. UConn offense started a little cold today. Maybe it was because of a little nerves, as it was quite the crowd at Mohegan Sun, like we were expecting, full of UConn Husky supporters. So maybe a little nerves to start the game. Huskies, of course, having all the pressure. They are expected to win this tournament pretty easily, just like they ran through the Big East in the regular season. But I think Jana played well in the first 5 minutes, but she did pick up two fouls, so unfortunately she had to head to the bench for the remainder of the quarter. Huskies defense wasn't allowing St. John's to get into the paint at all. Red Storm really couldn't get any shots off whatsoever, and you could definitely tell there is a shift of energy when KK Arnold checked into the game. When KK gets that downhill speed, downhill drive to the basket going, it's really hard for the defense to stop. We saw that a couple of times in that first quarter when she checked into the game. The full court press was in full swing for UConn. Didn't really allow the Red Storm to get past the perimeter. UConn not allowing them to get into the paint. Really no good shots off at all. Really explains why St. John's only scored 2 points the whole first quarter. So definitely not the start Joe Tortomella's team was looking for. And the size advantage was really evident as the game went on. First, it was Jana El-Alfi on offense, and then Sarah Straw getting rebounds on both ends of the floor. But the Red Storm were finally able to score after going over 10 minutes without a basket. Kylie Lavelle and Ariana Vanderhoop provided a boost to the Red Storm offense. Huskies up by 17 at the break, however. It could have been a lot more. Like I said, missed layups for UConn, a lot of them at the start of the game. And I thought at times there was too much passing for UConn on offense. When the play doesn't work, when the defense blocks some of the passing lanes, it seems like at times the Huskies really aren't sure what to do with the ball. They run out of time on the shot clock. So I wanted to see a couple players take it into their own hands. Doesn't have to be anybody specific, but Huskies create their shots a little bit more in the second half. And I would say that did happen in the third quarter when Paige Bueckers pretty much put on a mid-range clinic, creating her own shots. So that was nice to see Paige getting more aggressive. We need that sometimes on offense. Doesn't always have to be Paige Bueckers being the aggressive one, but just somebody to take the ball into their own hands, create their own shots, and be more aggressive. I think that really paid off in the second half. St. John's got a couple wide open looks. Definitely wasn't UConn's best all around game, I would say. Struggling from the 3-point line specifically. A lot of shots they would normally make just weren't falling for them today. But as always, the defense shows up. Huskies stopped Dwyer and Mayo from having hardly any impact on the game. UConn winning the rebound and turnover battle by double digits. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was the transition game. It's always a huge part on why UConn is able to blow out most of their opponents and why they're so successful. They're able to outrun their opponents and get an easy basket after a turnover or a defensive stop. So I hope that continues throughout this tournament run and both the tournaments we have coming up. But the one thing that has to improve is the 3-point shooting, and we've brought that up a lot. It's pretty evident that it's UConn's main struggle throughout the season is their 3-point shooting. Pretty much the only positive thing for St. John's today was their 3-point shooting, outscoring the Huskies 21-6 from downtown. But Paige and Sarah sat the last 7 minutes of the game, but led UConn for most of the way today. AZ Flood struggled from three, but did manage to get into double-digit points as well, alongside Paige and Sarah. Chen and El Alfie, I thought they played well today in the starting lineup, and Ashlyn, KK, and Ice, I'd say they played pretty solid coming off the bench. Caroline came in about 3.5 minutes left, I think. I believe she got two baskets there at the end, back to back. So that was really nice to see the crowd. I always love to hear the crowd's reaction when she comes in. It gets so loud. You can tell how much the UConn Huskies family really loves Caroline Ducharme. Again, not the best overall performance today, but enough to get the job done as UConn wins the quarterfinal matchup 71-40. So with that said, we will get into go into a couple of comments from the last video, and we will start with just me. They said, "Thanks, guys, for keeping us updated. Let's hope UConn stays focused to win the Big East tourney. Hope they get a number one NCAA seed." Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I think they were focused for the most part today. I mean, again, St. John's coming off that win against Butler yesterday, so it would make sense that they're a little more into it at the start of the game. Again, UConn didn't play for a whole week in terms of in-game action, so maybe that was part of the reason why as well. They started off a little slow today, but eventually got it going. Like I said, the defense is always going to be there. That's what's going to carry them throughout this Big East tournament and hopefully all of the March Madness tournament too. But I would say they have a chance at the end of this thing if they do end up winning the Big East tournament, getting a number one seed. I think they do have a shot. And the last comment we'll get into from Michael Lawson. They said, "May the spirit of Abby guide them through the Big East tournament and March Madness tournament." Well, amen to that. It's very well said. Glad you brought that up. Of course, Abby passing away in October, so I'm sure she's looking down on UConn, watching all these games and cheering on her Huskies. She loved them so much. She was, I believe, was able to meet most of the team before. She got to meet most of the team there, and that was great to see. Sports Center wrote, ESPN wrote a really good article on Abby. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely recommend that one. But I'm sure Abby is watching down on her Huskies, cheering them on throughout this tournament. And yeah, hopefully that helps them get them through this Big East tournament and helps them make a very big run in the March Madness tournament. But with that said, that's going to do it for me here today. Again, a pretty good UConn Huskies quarterfinal matchup, and they're going to be right back at it tomorrow for the semifinal matchup. Not sure yet who they're going to play that game. I believe is probably starting right now after this game, but me and Phil won't be on right after that game, unfortunately, but later at night we will have that game recap video out for you guys. So with that being said, it's been Rye on another game recap on Listen Up, and I will see you guys tomorrow after the semifinal matchup here on Listen Up.